because the more you can understand them, the more they will feel understood by you. And if they feel like you understand them, then what happens is when you come out and say, I have a solution to the problem that you're feeling, they will buy. A common question I get from clients is, how do I build an audience that actually buys? How do I build an audience that actually is going to purchase something from me? And this video, I'm going to talk about exactly how I have built an audience that buys in 2 different niches, in 2 different online businesses, and how I've taught people to do it over the last few years. Because here's the thing, one of the saddest things that can happen is if you build an audience of people that don't purchase from you. And there's a few reasons why this happens. It's actually pretty common where people can build an audience online and feel like, hey, I was told if I build an audience, then I'm going to start making money. And they realize that if they're not intentional about it from the very beginning, they build an audience that either doesn't buy what they're selling, or they buy so little of it that they have to build an even bigger audience, or they have to rely on ads or sponsorships or what have you. And I want to keep you from having to do that. One of the things that I like to do is help people build online businesses that replace their 9-to-5 income without having to grow a large audience. You want to grow a very engaged, targeted audience. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And so we're going to get into all of what it takes to build an audience that makes you money. My name is Lane. I love to help people start and grow passive income style online businesses that replace their 9-to-5 income and build a life for them. Where this starts is your audience. One of my business mentors, Graham Cochran, says that without an audience, nothing is possible. But with an audience, anything is possible. There's a lot of truth behind that, because without an audience, who's going to buy from you? Without an audience, who is going to enter into your email list, take you up on your lead magnet, watch your content, and eventually purchase something from you? No one. So an audience is incredibly needed. It's necessary. But it's also unbelievable what's possible with an engaged audience. And so the very first thing I want you to understand is that if you're in online business, you should want to build an audience, and you should be incredibly intentional with how you build your audience. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right from the start. And if you haven't built an audience well, like a lot of times what happens is people get into online business and they just hear like, okay, I make content and I build an audience, and where do I go from there? And so they get into it and they build an audience, but the audience isn't engaged, or maybe they haven't offered the right products to that audience, or they're not connected to the audience. We'll get into all these kind of issues. But because of all that, the audience isn't making them any money. And so they end up having to kind of go the route of the influencer, where they're like, well, I guess I just have to keep getting this audience big enough where I can make money off of ad revenue, I can make money off of sponsorships, and it becomes a treadmill that's this constant like pressure that's on them to continue to grow this audience. I want to show you a much different path. A much different path where your audience is every bit as critical and every bit as crucial to your success, but you can engage a much smaller, a much more targeted audience. And as that audience grows, your income grows with it. So the very first thing we want to understand is we want to grow an audience. Now, the question of it becomes, how do you grow an audience? And especially, how do you grow an audience that buys from you? I want to give you 4 things to keep in mind as you're growing your audience that will help you build an audience that actually buys from you. The first thing is to serve your audience first and then sell later. A lot of times people walk out and they think, without having built an audience, I can just start selling. I've got something to sell. And I appreciate the confidence. I really do. The problem is, until you have led the way with generosity, you haven't really proven your worth to enough people to get a response of people buying. This is why in both of my businesses, both at Preaching Donkey and here on my personal brand, I did a lot of free content before I ever offered something for sale, because what I was focusing on was I wanted someone, when they interacted with my brand, to say, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much value from this guy, and he doesn't seem to be asking me for anything in return. Like, I can just watch his videos and then just bounce if I want. I wanted that because what I wanted, I didn't want people to watch my videos and bounce. I wanted people to take me up on my lead magnet, get in my email list and purchase something. But if they didn't do any of that, but they just watched my video, I wanted them to walk away going, wow, that was really good. And I was able to use that. That was helpful. It was useful because this is what helps people understand the value of what you sell. Because what you want people doing is saying, if this person's free content is this good, then I can't imagine how much better their paid content is going to be. In fact, I had a discovery call yesterday with a potential coaching client, and this is one of the things that she said in her coaching application. She said, I've watched your videos for a long time, and I just thought, if your videos are this good that are free, I can't imagine how much better and more valuable your coaching would be one-on-one. And she's right. It is that way. My videos are great and my coaching's even better. So you want people to have that perception of your content. And the way to get that is to serve first. So lead the way with generosity. How do you do that? Well, one of the ways that you go about this is you avoid teaser content. I've talked about this a lot before, but you avoid content that is just kind of scratching the surface. In the old days of content marketing, people would say, well, give away the what, but sell the how, right? Sell the how. Don't actually tell anybody how. Put that behind a paywall and sell that. And the idea was that if you just tell people what to do, then they'll pay you to tell them how to do it. The problem with that is that it doesn't go far enough in its value that it gives for free. Because if all you're saying is here's what to do, most people already know that. And so if all your content is here's what you're going to do for this and here's what to do for that, but you don't actually lay out a path and tell people how, then they're going to go somewhere else and learn how. But if you tell people here's what to do, here's how to do it, and you do that enough times, and then you say, by the way, I have something that goes even more in depth and shows you an even more clear path for how to do this. And I hold your hand along the way inside my course or my coaching program or my cohort. Then they're much more likely, because you haven't led the way with teaser content. You've led the way with serving them and being generous. And that has come before you've ever tried to sell them something. I've tried this in both of my brands and it's worked magically. I have a multiple six-figure business because of this exact thing. And you can do the same thing as well. Number 2, understand your audience. So the people who are actually watching you, subscribing to your email list, sending you DMs, sending you emails, commenting on things, get inside their head. Understand, what are their pain points? What are their desires? Where are they stuck? What are they trying to accomplish? You want to understand all of that, because the more you can understand them, the more they will feel understood by you. And if they feel like you understand them, then what happens is when you come out and say, I have a solution to the problem that you're feeling, and let me articulate that problem very clearly right in front of your face, like, here's what you're going through, and I know because I've been paying attention, and then you point to the solution, they will buy. And the magic of this is when you know exactly what people want, then you can build products that are tailor-made just for them. Now, the question is, how do you do this? Like, what is one practical way? And this is what I suggest that you do, and you can do this today. Send an email to your list if you have a list, or post this on social media to anybody who is following you, or both, and ask 2 simple questions. What are you struggling with, and where are you trying to go? So, for example, when I was a preaching coach, I would say, what are you struggling with in your preaching right now, and where are you trying to go with your preaching? Or another way might be, what are your goals or desires with your preaching? So where are you stuck? And what are your goals and desires? Where are you challenged, and where are your goals and desires? What this does is this gets people to tell you in their words how you can help them, because they're telling you, here's where I'm stuck. I can't seem to get past this plateau, or I can't seem to figure out how to do this. And this is what I really want. I want to get to this place where I'm XYZ. And then you can look back and say, wow, I know exactly how to get you unstuck, and I know exactly how to get you to where you're going to go. So then your content can actually be informed by all this stuff. You can start to say, I know you're stuck here, and I know you're trying to get there, and here we go. For example, one of the things that I hear from people is, I'm trying to build an audience, but nobody's buying. So I hear that as a pain point, and I hear that as where people are stuck. And then I hear that they want to build an audience that is buying, and that's where they're trying to go. So hence, I'm making a video about how to build an audience that buys. So this is the way that it's constantly working, is I'm trying to understand you, where your pain points are, what your desires are, so that I can help you overcome those pain points and get to where you're trying to go. Do the same thing with the audience that you're building, and your audience will grow. Because the more you help individuals in your audience, the more they tell their friends about you, and the more people show up and say, can you help me too? Before we get to number 3, I want to mention that if you're trying to build a business, but you don't know all the pieces that fit together, you can go to my free workshop, which is called Turn What You Know into Dough. It's over at lanesebring.com/workshop. There's a link in the description. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get to your first $1,000 a month consistently in your online business, in passive income, in your spare time. There's 4 steps to get there. And in this workshop, I'm showing you exactly how to do it. It's free. It's on demand. You can watch it right now. That's over at lanesebring.com/workshop. All right, number 3 is build a connection, not just content. This is so vital right now. It's vital right now, mainly because content has become so ubiquitous and information has become incredibly ubiquitous. With AI, information is just, it used to be at your fingertips. Now it's more than at your fingertips. It's like it's escalating at this phenomenal rate. And so if all you're doing in your online business is dispensing information, people can get information anywhere. What they really want is a person that they know and they like and they trust. And the way you build an audience that knows you, likes you, and trusts you is you have to do the things we're talking about. You have to be generous. You have to lead with generosity, serve first before you sell anything. You have to understand their pain points and what they're trying to accomplish. And you have to do that consistently over time to prove to people that, like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you. Because people are coming to you to solve their problem, but before they'll pull out their credit card and allow you to solve their problem in a really big way, they want to know, can I trust this person? And the way you demonstrate that you're trustworthy is doing these things consistently over time. And finally, number 4, create offers that solve a problem. Your course should solve a problem, and it should solve a deeply felt problem that you know your audience feels. Your community should solve a problem that your audience actually has. Your coaching packages and cohorts should solve a real problem that people have. And the way that you can communicate this to your people, you can say to your audience, I've had you in mind as I've built this product because I know exactly what you're going through. And this course will deliver the kind of transformation that you need. It's not just information. I'm helping you transform your entire situation so that you can learn this new skill, so that you can change your life, so that you can become an entirely new person. That is what sells. And that happens when you've done all the things that we've talked about. Those kind of products are absolutely just guaranteed to sell. This was something I experienced over at Preaching Donkey, my first online business. I heard time and time again from pastors that just sitting down to write a sermon was a daunting task every week, even though they've done it for years. Because every sermon is its own animal. It's like, I got to go to the drawing board again and come up with something again. And so what they needed was a simple system, a step-by-step prescribed system to apply, a template to apply to any topic that they were going to do. So this birthed a product called Preaching Jumpstart. Preaching Jumpstart was a mini course, 7 lessons, very simple, but it solved a problem and it sold incredibly well. And it served a lot of pastors because it was birthed out of leading with generosity and then understanding my audience, knowing exactly what their pain points were, building a strong connection, and then launching a product that was exactly what they wanted. And I've repeated this exact same process in both of my online businesses over and over again. And everybody that I've helped who's been successful has done exactly this. They've built a strong connection, leading with generosity, understanding their audiences, and then building a product that solves a problem. If you do these things, you will build an audience that buys. And I can help you in an even deeper way over at lanesebring.com/workshop, where I'll show you all of these pieces, how they fit together, and we'll get you to that first $1,000 a month consistently in your online business. Go there. You can watch it right now. It's on demand and it's free. lanesebring.com/workshop. But before you go, let me know in the comments which one of these things resonated with you the most, and how are you going to put it into practice this week? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.